my name is Dene Lopez. I am 16 years old, and I am one of the two leaders of the Climate Strike Yuma, Arizona page. My other leader, Juliana, is there in the crowd, and this speech comes from both of us. And I appreciate all of you being here. John F. Kennedy once said, quote, "Our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air, we all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal." That was back in 1963. What changed? When did our children's future stop mattering? When did the leaders of this world and of our nation when did the leaders of this nation and of our world start putting profit over people's lives? When did oil and big corporations become more important than the air we breathe? Our leaders have failed us. They have chosen to protect, they are not supposed to protect profit, they are supposed to protect the people, protect our planet. Yet they continue to destroy our world our only home by the lack of care that they show. But that does not mean that we should stay quiet so that they can stay comfortable. We can't give up. We must become the leaders because our voices must be heard. We have to continue to fight for climate justice, because our home is being torn apart. But to change everything, we need everyone. Each and every one of us has to participate in this climate movement. Climate change and its effects will only come faster if we don't bring attention to it. Action has to be made as soon as possible before irreversible effects happen to our planet. The U.S. is only 5% of the world's population, yet we consume 1/4 of Earth's resources, and we produce 1/4 of the planet's waste. We must all acknowledge this and lead the charge for change. We deserve a future. Our children deserve a future. This is a youth climate strike. My generation realizes that this climate crisis is not something that was made up. We realize that it is not about party association, but about stopping the apathy in our world. We choose to skip our lessons because we are studying and becoming educated from a future that is being ripped from our hands. Our future is being sold for profit, and we can't drink oil, nor can we breathe money. Some of us aren't old enough to vote yet, which is why we need older generations to listen to us, to realize that this is about our survival, to join us in supporting leaders that put our planet and our lives first, to put people over profit. We need other generations to fight for us and to see that this is a sign for change, because your mistakes should not be our future. If we all come together and give power back to the people, then we have a chance of resetting our destiny. But if you fail to do so, we will have to live with those consequences. We need people to listen to us, to the cries of the world. The sea levels have risen by 8 inches in these past years and will continue to rise by 19 inches by 2050. 75% of the world's coral reefs are at risk of being damaged beyond repair, and by 2030, 90% of them will be at risk. Australia's current droughts have been the worst in over 800 years, and their increased fires are fundamentally worse than they have been in the past. Cities in Italy have been flooded by over 6 feet. A company in New Delhi, India, has started to offer customers 15 minutes of pure oxygen because the air pollution there is so bad that children have had signs of brain damage. Entire ecosystems are bound to collapse soon. We are only one world. We only have one world, and denial is not a policy. There is a poster that says, "Listen to the next generation." We are the next generation. I am here asking and begging all of you to join our movement, because there is no wealth on a dead planet, because we can't solve our problems with the same thinking that caused them. We have to make people listen, make them uncomfortable, make them care. We have to change the system. It's all we have left. Thank you.
Back to what my friend Dene was saying about the U.S. being a quarter responsible for the pollution here in our world. not too long ago, very not too long ago, an article was posted by the Washington Post and the LA Times about the Marshall Islands and the pollution there because of the US run-it dome, where in the 1950s, the US were testing nuclear weapons and they placed all the nuclear waste in this dome that is now cracking, it's breaking, debris showing up in the ocean, and one of the islands in the Marshall Islands is completely inhabitable. To say that global warming, climate change, everything that we're trying to get older generations to see is a lie is completely illogical. There's no reason that no one should be able to see what's going on. If you look behind me, the Colorado River, it's not what it used to be just a couple years ago when I was a kid. Look at the water. The water, it's not what it's supposed to look like. Nothing looks right anymore. But people can't seem to grasp that. And the people that do are smart people. They realize that we need to do something. And by not doing anything, we're just sentencing ourselves to death. I ask you, I urge you, I beg of you, please listen to us. We need a voice. We need someone to help us. We need someone to help this world, and to have our nation's leaders come together and realize this. We can help everything, but we can't do nothing if no one listens. I beg you, please listen, join the strike, join what we're trying to show everyone here.
I'm Liliana Ramirez. I'm 18. We live in a society that has abandoned hope, a society filled with deniers, with people who don't believe us, with people who think we're making up facts to get attention. And we've lost hope. I think, and many of those deniers, as sad as it is, are people in our community. I mean, well, we are a small group and we are filled with hope. I think that goes to show how much people are filled with apathy, how many people don't care, how many people are not willing to listen. And even sadder, I think many of those people are in our own government, the government that's supposed to represent us, the government that's supposed to listen to us, the government that is our voice. And that's completely absurd to know that there are people out there who their entire job is to listen to the people, and that's the one thing they're not doing. So, I'm going to make this very short. It's just be here with an open mind, willing to spread awareness, willing to tell people about this movement, and not let ourselves get too affected by the apathy that runs rampant in this community and in this world, but to share our wisdom and to help people, because this is an issue we should all care about.
Hi, my name is Liz Haskell. I am the current facilitator of Yuma County Indivisible. And I was around on the first Earth Day, organizing to create an Earth Day back in New York City. We still have an Earth Day, but as you can see, we have failed you. All the activists of earlier generations have failed the youth, the planet, the koala bears. They're extinct, essentially extinct in Australia, and all the other extinctions, the mass extinctions that are taking place. We've left this world a mess. And I asked Brian, how partisan can we be of this thing? Elections do have consequences, and we might be tempted to support a candidate because we like the way they talk, or we like their tough attitude, or we think they're an outsider. But let the climate, let the earth make your decision for you. You guys that are not yet old enough to vote, you can still talk to your elders, and I'm sure you do, but don't stop talking. We are also talking, right now we are working on registering more people and trying to mobilize people to vote for the climate and for the consequences of climate. All the droughts around the world, the rising sea levels that are going to inundate coastal areas. we're going to have a climate refugee crisis that is unheard of on planet Earth. And we are totally unprepared to deal with all those people that are going to be displaced, including my hometown, New York City, which is going to be completely underwater as the whole East Coast. So, hi Hudson. So even though we've failed with our electoral politics, and there's a reason that the young people are calling this a climate strike, because we cannot continue with business as usual. We've seen what business as usual has gotten us. Those in power are still abusing the climate for their own profit, as you guys said. We have to build a movement that will stop business as usual until something is done. Registering people to vote, getting them out to vote, influencing the candidates that they vote for, is that the same as shutting down business as usual? No, of course not. But it is a step. Like Brian said, like others have said, we have a party that's basically into climate denial and corporatism. And that is accelerating the destruction of our planet. The other party may not be perfect, but we can't keep going the way it is. So while we're organizing to shut things down and not continue business as usual, we still need to do what we can to change the policy. And the United States is so responsible for so much of it. So we have a responsibility to change our leaders here in the United States and to force those leaders and pressure those leaders and demonstrate in front of their congressional offices to make them take action on climate. Just electing somebody is not enough. We have to keep the pressure up publicly, loudly, and remind them that they won't get reelected if they don't protect the planet. Thank you.
Parties. I will say one of them in Arizona at their last, it was their last state committee meeting, did vote to endorse a Green New Deal style of legislation passing. So there is leadership happening here in Arizona on making progress. For me, it's encouraging. It's reason to have hope that there is that you can get results from organizing, that you can get results from getting involved and using your voice and making it heard. I like to refer to voting as a superpower that everyone has in this country that you didn't know you had, because every 2 years we get to overthrow the government, pretty much. So while this coming year is going to be very stressful and chaotic, I have a lot of reasons to stay hopeful and excited that it's once again an opportunity to make our voices heard, to raise up new leaders, to give voice to a new generation, because every year that class of high school seniors gets to sign up to vote to make their voices heard. So sorry, distracted. Once again, thank you everyone for coming, showing up. I'll give it one last opportunity here for anyone who wants to come forward and speak. And Rick's coming up, so everyone, Rick.
Really applies well today, and that's think globally and act locally. And there is some things we can do locally about the climate crisis. Okay, time up. Can we even talk about noise pollution? There's a place called Lancaster in Mojave Desert, and they're the first ones in California to take up something called community choice energy, and that's where the citizens of the town own the sources of their energy. And this was when they had a Republican mayor, because he looked at the numbers and saw that it just made economic sense. They actually saved money by going all renewable and getting away from the local gas and electric company. And I know everybody here dislikes APS just as much as we dislike Pacific Gas and Electric in California. And so why not move away from an organization we don't like in the first place? And this is something that the city of Yuma could do in conjunction with other communities around. They could pool their resources and buy 100% renewable energy and lower costs, because there wouldn't be any investors that have to get a profit margin off of it. So it's something that we could take to our city council and we could ask them to act on.